When my daughter-in-law entered the living room, she had a piece of paper in her hand. "These are the house rules from now on," she said, and placed it on the table. Among the rules were no cooking in the kitchen without permission, ask permission before inviting guests, and be quiet in common areas. I listened with a smile, because the house deed was still in my name, and she didn't know that. If this story touched your heart, click subscribe and let me know in the comments which city or country you're listening from. I'm genuinely curious where you're watching from. I'm grateful to everyone who comments. My name is Margaret Collins. I'm 63 years old and live in Springfield, Missouri. After losing my husband Harold 4 years ago, this house became my only refuge. Harold and I bought this house 35 years ago, when our son Nathan was still a baby. Every corner held memories: the coffee stain on the kitchen counter, the marks on the doorframe where we measured Nathan's height, and the rose bushes Harold planted in the garden. But now, sitting in the living room, I was looking at the list of rules my daughter-in-law Amber had written. Have you ever imagined feeling like a guest in your own home? Nathan and Amb. Oh, that old thing? She shrugged. I gave it to the garage sale. We needed to get new things. More modern, cleaner. But that was Harold's chair, I said. My voice was trembling. He used to read books there. Rock Nathan to sleep in his arms on that chair. Old things just take up space, Margaret, Amber said. We have to look ahead. We don't want old, worn-out furniture when the baby comes. When Nathan came home, I told him. I thought he'd listen to me. But Nathan just shrugged. Mom, Amber's right. We need to renovate the house. A nice environment for the baby. But this is my house, Nathan, I said. I'm sharing it with you, but we should make decisions together. Mom, Nathan said, taking a deep breath, Amber is very stressed. She's pregnant. You can't stress her out over an old chair right now. An old couch. Harold's couch. 35 years of memories. An old couch. That night, I sat and cried. I looked at Harold's photo. What should I do? I whispered. But of course, he didn't answer. The following week, Ruth called. Margaret, are you coming on Tuesday? The cafe misses you. I said yes, just to get out. I needed to escape the house. But as I was leaving, Amber called out, Where are you going? I'm meeting Ruth, I said. Amber frowned. I have a pediatrician appointment today. Nathan's at work. I was expecting you to come with me. But you didn't tell me. I guess I forgot to tell you, Amber said. But you're here anyway. You can see Ruth another time. I called Ruth and canceled. Amber and I went to the doctor. While we sat in the waiting room, Amber was on her phone. She didn't even talk to me. When the doctor called us in, she said, Wait here. I want to go in alone. I had gone there for her. But this was how I was treated. As the months passed, things got worse. Amber's rules increased. The TV couldn't be too loud. Dinner had to be at 6 o'clock sharp. I had to clean the kitchen before going for my morning walk. I was asking permission and apologizing in my own home. And Nathan? Nathan avoided my gaze. He came home late at night. He went out with his friends on weekends. He had abandoned me. Instead of being with Amber, he was running away. And I was left alone with Amber. Then that day came. Amber entered the living room, holding that paper. Margaret, she said, sitting down. We need to talk. The baby is coming in 2 months, and we need to clarify some things. My heart raced. Yes? From now on, we'll have house rules, she said, placing the paper on the table. It'll be better for everyone this way. I looked at the paper. There were 12 rules, written in house rules. No cooking in the kitchen without permission. Ask permission before inviting guests. Be quiet in common areas. Television only between 8 and 9 p.m. Phone calls must be made in your own room. Do not get up early on weekends. The baby will be sleeping. Write down your grocery list in advance. Do yard work only with Nathan's permission. Dinner is served according to Amber's menu. Personal belongings should be kept in your own room. The guest room will be the nursery. Margaret will move to the basement. These rules cannot be changed. After reading the paper, I looked up. Amber was staring at me, a challenge in her eyes. "The basement?" I said slowly. "We need space for the baby," Amber said. "The basement is quite comfortable. We've already set it up. There's a small bed, and you'll have your own bathroom." "Amber," I said. My voice was strangely calm. "This is my home." "Yes, but we live here now," Amber said. "And the baby is coming. The baby's needs come first." "Of course I'll do anything for the baby," I said. "But the basement in my own house?" Amber stood up. "Look, Margaret, I expected you to be grateful. We're living with you, giving you a chance to not be alone. But everything can't be the way you want it. You have to adapt." Something inside me broke, but I looked calm on the outside. "I understand," I said. Amber looked surprised. She was probably expecting an argument. "Fine," she said. "We'll talk when Nathan gets home." That evening, when Nathan came home, the three of us sat at the dinner table. Amber explained the rules. Nathan wasn't looking at me. "Mom," Nathan finally said, "I know it's hard. But for the baby." "Okay," I said. Both of them looked at me. "Is that okay?" Amber asked. "Yes," I said, smiling. "You're right. We have to do what's best for the baby. I'll adapt." Amber looked satisfied. Nathan seemed relieved. Neither of them noticed. They didn't see the quiet determination in my eyes. Because that night, I went to the drawer in Harold's desk. At the bottom, among old papers, there was an envelope. Inside was the deed to our house, in the names of Margaret and Harold Collins. When Harold died, the house automatically passed to me. Legally, this house was mine alone. Nathan and Amber didn't know this. I never felt the need for them to know. Nathan was my son, why wouldn't I trust him? But now I understood. This wasn't just about asking for help. This was a takeover. I took the deed in my hand and thought. There was no anger inside me, only a clear clarity. I had reached the breaking point, and there was no turning back. The next morning, at breakfast, Amber showed me the basement. "Look how nicely we've arranged it," she said, as we descended the stairs. The basement was cold and damp. There was a small bed, an old wardrobe, and a faint light coming through the basement window. The walls smelled of dampness. "It's beautiful," I said. I saw the triumphant smile on Amber's face. "You can start moving in tomorrow," she said. "I've even arranged for the painter for the nursery." That afternoon, I called a lawyer. His name was Robert Chen, Harold's old work colleague. I explained the situation. "Margaret," Robert said, "the house is in your name. You can evict them whenever you want." "I know," I said, "but I'm waiting for the right time." "I understand," Robert said. "I'm here if you need me." My plan was simple. I would wait. I would let them feel completely safe, and then I would remind them of the truth. But first, there was one more thing I needed to do. The following week, I moved into the basement. Amber came upstairs every day to tell me about the progress in the nursery. Pink walls, white furniture, a handmade crib. Everything was bought with the money Harold and I had saved for Nathan. But I waited silently. Have you ever quietly carried out a plan? Have you felt that inner strength, knowing no one could stop you? On the evenings I sat in the basement. I read Harold's old notebooks, home repair notes, garden plans, and stories from Nathan's childhood. On one page, Harold had written, "Margaret is the strongest woman, quietly, with patience, but never giving up. Her strength is not in shouting, but in her resolve." I wiped away my tears and kept reading. Upstairs, Amber and Nathan were getting on with their lives. I was called upstairs for dinner, but I would eat quietly and leave. When Amber's friends came over, she would say, "Oh, Margaret, Nathan's mom. She stays downstairs in her apartment." Did you hear that? She called the basement an apartment. Ruth came to visit me one day. Amber greeted me at the door. "Margaret is busy," Amber said. "Maybe another time?" But Ruth insisted. She went down to the basement and was stunned when she saw me. "Margaret," she said, "are you living here?" I smiled. "Temporarily," I said. "Everything will be fine after the baby." Ruth touched my arm. "Honey, this is your home. Why?" "Ruth," I said quietly, "trust me. Everything has a plan. Ruth looked worried but didn't ask any more questions. Before leaving, she whispered, Harold would be proud to see your strength. Maybe he could hear. In May, we went to Amber's final checkup. The doctor said she could go into labor any moment. Nathan was excited. Amber was tense. I was just observing. That evening on the way home, Nathan was driving. Amber was sitting in the front seat. I was in the back. Mom, Nathan said, looking at me in the mirror, you'll need to help when the baby is born. Night feedings, baby care, you know. Of course, I said. But, Amber interjected, the rules will still apply. In fact, they'll be even more important. The baby needs routine. I understand, I said. Amber turned around and looked at me. Margaret, I hope you're grateful. Most mothers-in-law beg to see their grandchildren. We're giving you the chance to be here, right beside us. Chance. Staying in my own home was a chance. I'm very grateful, Amber, I said softly. Really? Amber seemed satisfied, but she couldn't see the irony in the depths of my eyes. That night, I called Attorney Robert again. Are you ready? He asked. Almost, I said. After the baby is born, I don't want to hit them when they're at their happiest, most vulnerable moment, but it's time for them to see the truth. It's your decision, Margaret, Robert said. The papers are ready, whenever you want. 2 days later at midnight, Amber's water broke. Nathan panicked and ran down to the basement. Mom, Amber's giving birth. We have to go to the hospital. We waited 12 hours at the hospital. Nathan paced. I sat quietly. Finally, the nurse came. A healthy baby girl. Mother and baby are doing well. Nathan cried. I hugged him. This was my son. Despite everything, he was still my son. When we entered the room, Amber was sitting on the bed, holding the baby. A small pink bundle, sleeping. Nathan immediately went over to them. I watched from afar. That little baby, my grandchild, Harold's grandchild. My heart was filled with joy and sadness. Her name will be Lily, said Amber. Lily rose. It was a beautiful name. When we left the hospital, the sun was rising. Springfield was quiet in the early morning hours. Nathan was driving the car, and Amber was sitting in the back seat next to Lily. Mom, said Nathan, we're really going to need your help now. Lily is going to be a lot of work. I know, I said. Night feedings, said Amber. You can do them, right? I need to maintain my sleep schedule. The doctor said so. Have you ever felt like they wanted you to care for your own grandchild, as if you were just a servant? When we got home, everything was ready. The pink nursery, new furniture, and expensive baby gear. It was all bought with the money I put in the bank after my home loan was paid off and Harold's insurance money came in. The first night, Lily woke up 3 times. Each time, Amber called out from the basement, Margaret, the baby's crying. I went upstairs, fed Lily, burped her, and put her back to sleep. Amber continued sleeping. In the morning, as Nathan was leaving for work, he said, Thank you, Mom. I don't know what we would have done without you. But the person he should have thanked wasn't me. He should have thanked the person sleeping in a bed bought with my own money in my own home. Days turned into weeks. Lily was growing, a beautiful baby. I was happy to take care of her, but the situation was getting worse and worse. One afternoon, Ruth came again. This time, Amber didn't open the door. I did. Lily was in my arms. Margaret, Ruth said, enough is enough. This is outrageous. Why aren't you doing anything? I am, I said quietly. I looked at Lily. But at the right time. Ruth shook her head. If Harold were here now... Harold is here, I said. Always. And he tells me what to do. That evening, while Amber and Nathan were sitting in the living room, I was putting Lily to sleep. I heard their voices. Amber, maybe you're being a bit harsh with my mom, Nathan said. Harsh? Amber said. Nathan, he's staying here for free. Food, shelter, everything's on us. Isn't it normal for him to help out a little? Yes, but she's my mom. And this is... Nathan stopped. What is this place? Amber asked. Nothing, Nathan said. Never mind. But I heard him. A doubt was beginning to form in Nathan's mind. At the end of June, Amber's mom and dad came to visit. They had come from Detroit, Michigan. A big dinner was prepared. I was told to stay in the basement. Our family is coming, Amber said. Don't disturb them. Prepare the meal, but don't join them for dinner. I spent the whole day preparing the meal. Turkey, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and dessert. By evening, everything was ready. I heard laughter and conversation upstairs. Amber's mother, what a beautiful home. You're so lucky. Amber. Yes, Nathan and I worked very hard. The decor is entirely my taste. My taste. My home. My Harold's memory. After dinner, while washing the dishes, Nathan came into the kitchen. We were alone. Mom, he said quietly, I'm sorry. I know this is hard. I looked at him. I saw my son, that little boy, in Harold's arms. Nathan, I said, I want to ask you something. Yes? Are you happy? Nathan paused. What do you mean? In your marriage, in your life, here, are you happy? Nathan looked away. Of course. Amber is a wonderful wife. Lily is here. I have a good job. Nathan, I said, taking his hand, tell me the truth. Nathan took a breath. I'm tired, Mom. So tired. Amber wants to control everything, every little thing. And I just want peace. But she's never satisfied. And you. God, Mom, look at what we've done to you. We put you in the basement, in your own home. In my own home? I said slowly. You know, you're in your father's house. Nathan stopped. His face changed. Wait, isn't the house still in your name? There it was. The truth was starting to come out. Nathan, I said, the house has always been in my name. It passed to me when my father died. It never changed. Nathan's face went pale. But Amber said the house was ours. She said it was our house. I gave you permission to live here, I said. But the house is legally mine. Nathan brought his hand to his forehead. God, does Amber know this? I don't think so, I said. She never asked me. Nathan ran into the living room. Voices rose. Amber, what do you mean in your mother's name? This is our house. No, Amber, it's not. It never was. Amber stormed into the kitchen, her face bright red. You, she said, walking toward me. You lied to us. I never lied, I said calmly. You never asked. This is our house, Amber shouted. We invested in it. We're raising our baby here. With my money, I said. My voice was still calm, but there was steel in it. With Harold's insurance money, with the money I saved after my mortgage was paid off. It's all mine. Amber's mouth fell open. And, I continued, the guest room, the pink nursery, the new furniture, all bought with my money. You just knew how to spend it. But we live here, Amber said. With my permission, I said, and I can take that permission back at any moment. Silence fell over the living room. Amber's parents looked stunned. Nathan leaned against the wall, his head in his hands. So, Amber's father said slowly, you're the landlord? Yes, I said. And my daughter put you in the basement? Yes, I said. The man looked at his daughter. Amber, is that true? Amber couldn't answer. Amber's mother stood up. We're leaving, she said. Amber, we'll talk later. After they left, the three of us were left behind. Lily was sleeping upstairs. What happens now? Amber finally asked. The commanding tone was gone from her voice. Now, I said, we'll talk, and we'll set the real rules. We sat down at the table. I took a piece of paper out of my pocket. My own list of rules. These are my rules, I said. If you want to stay in this house, you'll follow them. Amber looked at the paper. Her eyes widened. Margaret's house rules. This house belongs to Margaret Collins. That will never change. Margaret stays in whichever room she wants, whenever she wants. She is currently returning to the master bedroom. The guest room can be the nursery, but the large bedroom is Margaret's. Household decisions are made jointly by Margaret, Nathan, and Amber. Majority rule applies. Margaret can have guests over whenever she wants. Margaret can cook in the kitchen at any time. Amber and Nathan will pay monthly rent, $800. Or, alternatively, they can find their own place. If these rules are not followed, the legal eviction process begins. Everyone takes care of Lily together, but Margaret is not the nanny. Amber read the paper and threw it on the table. "This is nonsense. Rent in our own home?" "This isn't your home," I said. "It never was. And the rent is a lesson for you. There's a cost to living in someone else's home." "Nathan," Amber said, "say something." Nathan looked at me. He stared into my eyes for a long time. Then he turned to Amber. "Mom's right," he said. "What?" Amber shouted. "Amber," Nathan said, "Mom, let us do this out of kindness. And we put her in the basement. Her own mother, in her own home. But the baby is no excuse," Nathan said. "We did wrong. I did wrong. And I need to apologize." Nathan turned to me. There were tears in his eyes. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I treated you horribly. I did everything Amber said and forgot about you. My dad would be ashamed of this." My throat tightened. "Nathan?" "No," he said. "I have to say it. You gave me everything. This house, your love, your time. And how did I repay you? I put you in the basement. My own mother." "Nathan," I said, taking his hand, "I still love you. I always will. But you need to earn my respect back." "I will," Nathan said. "I promise." Amber stood up. "I can't stay here," she said. "This is betrayal." "The door is over there," I said. "But if Lily stays, Nathan stays too. And if you go in, the legal process begins." Amber narrowed her eyes. But then she understood the truth. She had no choice. "All right," she said. "But this isn't over." Oh, but it was over. She just didn't know it. Have you ever won by staying silent, without shouting, without drama, just by telling the truth? After that night, everything changed. I moved back into the master bedroom. I put Harold's photo on the nightstand. I found his chair in the garage, cleaned it, and brought it back into the living room. Amber and Nathan started paying rent. When the first check came, Amber gave it to me with a frown. I took it with a smile and donated it to charity. I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the lesson. But the biggest change was in our relationships. Nathan started talking to me. Really talking. In the evenings, after Lily went to sleep, we would sit in the living room and talk. "Mom," he said one evening, "how did you manage to be so strong?" Quietly. "Waiting?" "Harold," I said, "your father taught me. Strength isn't in shouting, it's in knowing, and waiting for the right time." "I never understood you," Nathan said. "You were just my mom, but you're so much more than that." "Every mother is like that," I said. "When our children grow up, they see us only as mothers. But we are whole people. We have our lives, our stories, our strength." Nathan nodded. "When Lily grows up, I'll tell her everything about you. How strong her grandmother was." "Amber?" Amber hadn't changed completely. She was still cold, still distant. But she followed my rules. And over time, perhaps out of necessity, she began to show a little more respect. One day in the kitchen, while feeding Lily, Amber walked in. "Margaret," she said. She paused. "You take such good care of Lily." "My granddaughter," I said. "How could I not take good care of her?" "My mother," Amber said quietly, "never looked at me like that. She always criticized me. I was never good enough." I understood. Amber's harshness, her need for control, it all stemmed from her own wounds. "Amber," I said, "you can be a good mother to Lily, but first you need to learn to be kind to yourself and to others." Amber looked away. "I don't know how." "You'll learn," I said. "It takes time. But you can start. Maybe one day we'd really be a family. Maybe." When August came, Ruth came over for tea. She could come and go freely now. We sat in the living room, in Harold's chair, drinking tea. "Margaret," Ruth said, "I'm proud of you. I just did what was right," I said. "No," said Ruth. "You did the strong thing. Quietly, patiently, but never giving up." The words in Harold's notebook came to mind. My eyes filled with tears. "Harold is here," I said. "He's always here. In this house, in the garden, in every corner." Ruth took my hand. "And you're carrying on his legacy, strength, love, and loyalty." That night, I lay down in my bed, my own bed, in my own room. I heard Lily's soft breathing through the baby monitor. Nathan and Amber were talking in their own room. Their voices were quiet. I was at peace. Sometimes silence must be broken. Sometimes you have to say what's right and break all the rules. But in the end, true strength emerges. And I, Margaret Collins, 63 years old, was lying in my own bed, in my own home, in Springfield, Missouri. I looked at Harold's photo and whispered, "We did it, my love. We did it." The next morning, when the sun rose, I went out into the garden. Harold's rose bushes were in bloom, red, white, pink, every color. I picked a rose and took a deep breath. When I returned to the kitchen, Nathan was making coffee. "Good morning, Mom," he said with a smile. "Good morning, son," I said. Amber came down with Lily. "Margaret," she said, "I'm going shopping today. Will you watch Lily?" "Of course," I said, "but on one condition." Amber tensed. "What?" "Let's go together," I said. "You, me, and Lily. Girls' Day." Amber was surprised. Then, for the first time, she really smiled. "Okay," she said. "Sure. Maybe it wouldn't be completely fixed. Maybe Amber and I would never be real friends. But we were making a start, and that was enough." That afternoon, walking through the mall, Lily in the car, and Amber by my side, I thought, life is strange. Sometimes in the darkest moments, you find your greatest strength. Sometimes when you think you're losing, you're actually winning. Harold was right. Strength isn't about shouting. It's about standing firm in silence. And I, Margaret Collins, 63 years old, finally found my voice. I emerged from the basement and returned to my own place in my own home. And that was the most beautiful victory. A year has passed. Lily is now 16 months old, running around and trying to talk. She calls me Gigi for grandmother. Every morning she runs into my room to wake me up. Nathan and Amber still live here. But they're different. Respectful. Amber started therapy, trying to mend her relationship with her mother. She still gets controlling sometimes, but she catches herself and apologizes. Nathan thanks me every day. "Mom, thank you for showing me the truth," he says. "I was lost, but you found me." Last week, Nathan and Amber gave me a gift. I walked into the living room, and there was a new painting hanging on the wall. An old photo of Harold, me, and little Nathan restored and framed on the wall. "This house is yours, Mom," Nathan said, "and we're just guests, very lucky guests." I cried. From happiness? Life isn't perfect. There are still arguments and disagreements. But now we're equals. We have respect. And that's everything. Ruth asked the other day, "Margaret, after you're done cooking, what do you miss the most?" I thought. "Nothing," I said, "because I never left. I just reminded them, and myself, that I'm here. When I visit Harold's grave, I leave flowers. And I whisper, 'Did you see my love?' Quietly, but strongly. Just as you said. Sometimes the wind blows and it's as if it's answering. I always knew. You're my Margaret. My strong, quiet, unbreakable Margaret. And this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. Because now I'm not just a mother-in-law, or a grandmother. I'm Margaret Collins. The owner of my own home, my own life, my own strength. And no one can take that away from me again. Never. What should be written on Margaret's tombstone? I think this. She lived quietly, loved strongly, and never gave up. Subscribe, like, and share. And most importantly, don't forget your own strength. You could be a Margaret. Maybe you already are.